Welcome to the World United. Welcome to the World United.
Daniel is the author of The Pessimist's Guide of Manifesting, and his topic today is how to be an additive light in a subtractive world. Daniel OLEXA discovered that personal confidence is grown through vulnerable expression. The more open, the more communication, the more brightly one allows their light to shine, the greater their achievements and enjoyment of life will be. He is dedicated to his mission of helping those who feel accidental and without purpose to remember that there are no mistakes in the universe. All have a divine reason for being as part of the universal whole. He is the co-author of Amazon #1 bestsellers, Practical Manifesting and A Pessimist's Guide to Manifesting, and the creator of My 2-Minute Journal. We're excited to have you here with us today, Daniel, and I'm just going to turn it over to you.
Thank you. I am excited to be here and welcome everyone. Thank you to the World Parliament on Spirituality for allowing me the space and time to have this conversation and present these ideas that come from my lifetime of up to a few years ago seeming very incongruent compartments of my life that very recently all came together into a much deeper understanding of how things work together, both on a physical and on a spiritual realm. And the idea of how do we become an additive light in a world that seems to be very subtractive, that we are here talking about unity consciousness, becoming together, becoming a collective and living in that space of light and love, where we came from, that white everything that we are still a part of, we are not apart from. We're still part of that light, but we take on, as we incarnate, coming from that spirit space, that whole unity consciousness, we begin to take on aspects, differing aspects of ourselves as we come into the body. Our light, our vibration, our beliefs begin to shift in that spirit space. We take on color. Our light moves from that all white light that includes all into frequencies, the frequencies of the rainbow, the frequencies of the visible light spectrum. And in this space, I want to be clear that I'm not referring to Dr. Michael Newton's work in the life between life work and the colors of the soul. That could be a space here, but I'm really talking about our individual lights and how we group together coming into the world. Some of us vibrate at a frequency of red, some orange, some yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And there's no right or wrong in the colors of light. They just are different. There's no judgment in that space, that just because red is red doesn't mean that it has to be associated to root chakra and survival. It just is. It's a frequency of light. And as our color becomes more and more defined, as we become our individual selves and begin to learn who we are in this life, we become even more separated. And notice here, as we become separated and become more associated into who we learn to be, we move farther away from remembering who we truly are as part of a unified consciousness. When this darkness, separation begins to come in. In this concept of color, there are two theories coming from the art world and from science on art and color. There's the additive theory of light, and there is the subtractive theory of color. And while we separate into all these individual colors of our souls, of our incarnation, there's some truth in all color. It's just as the rainbow needs all frequencies of light once it is refracted from the visible spectrum of white light through a prism and we see that beautiful rainbow. Every color of that light needs to exist for it to come back into wholeness, to become the white light. So there is some truth in all color, some truth. because as we are vibrating in the red, we may not be in total alignment with the vibration of the blue or the green or the violet. But there is truth in each of those compartments that, as we recognize being together, honoring that, there is whole truth in the light when all colors come back together. As we look at the concept of the subtractive theory of color, light as it's refracted through a prism, here coming into a red object or a red soul, a red person, that the red is reflected out, yet all these other colors are absorbed by this object or this person. There is an absorption, a taking in of that light, but who they project outward to be is mainly reflected in the red. Their ideas, who they have learned to become through it, family, culture, friends, and other influences. They reflect out to be red. Those who take on blue absorb the other 6 colors and reflect out blue. Yellow, the same. That in each of these, as I said before, there is a truth in each, but the truth that gets reflected out is minus these other colors. So it is only a partial truth as we incarnate into the body that we are reflecting out. We become in essence, a portion of the light spectrum. And that's where we begin to get into battles that cause us to separate further from unity consciousness. So we consider paint, particularly here in the subtractive color theory. The 3 primary colors of subtractive color theory are red, yellow, and blue. We also have some black here for some additional tone. But from these 3 colors, when mixed in harmony, all colors can be created. If you've taken an art class somewhere along the line, you know that very, very minor nuances of tone, wonderful spectrum of color can all be created with just 3. As we mix them together, we can see the oranges beginning to blend here in the yellow and the red, some of the purple coming in. We can use it to build. But also, unfortunately, in the world of opacity, in the world of solidity, what happens is when those colors pile on top of each other, they create gray, they create black, because they are now not in harmony, and all color is absorbed in the battle. We wind up with just a mix of battling, forgetting who we are, because we stand in the truth of our color as the whole truth, rather than being in the space of honoring our color and honoring the color of others, the beliefs of others, understanding that we each in any moment in time are all doing the best we can with the information we have. We've learned what we've learned through growing up, through interactions with others, through the events of our lives, through our families. When we recognize that it is just a partial bit of our learning in this world, we can honor that others are going through the same challenges and begin to create a space for harmony in light, rather than sliding into the full blackness, the absence of light that is currently taking place in the subtractive world, particularly here in the United States, the battling that has taken place between groups that identify themselves as red and blue. Seeing no common space when actually there is common space. They both want the best for the country. They both want the country to do well. But they don't understand. They're so battled in the specifics of how they want that to happen. They don't come together to create harmony, instead create division that creates separation, that creates the black. Color requires light. Light does not require color. For color to exist, there must be light to shine into it, to be absorbed and reflected. It can't exist without it, otherwise we are in that darkness. So just the fact that we are all here, no matter where we are in the world, no matter what we believe, we are a component of that whole universal consciousness, that whole universal light. There is element of it in us, in our souls. Couldn't be here without it. That does not require color. That is who we are truly. And as we begin to shine our light in that darkness, now we become more in alignment with the additive theory of light. In the additive theory of light, color comes together. There are three base colors: red, green, and blue. They're the colors that you are observing me on right now on your monitor, your television screen, computer screens, phone screens. They're all based on additive color of light, projection. The interesting thing here is that when in the additive theory, when colors come together, they are actually constructive. They create a whole experience. So those three colors come together in balance. Notice they create white light, because all those component colors are required to create white, the full spectrum of light, just as all the colors of the rainbow are required to reassemble back into the full visible spectrum of light. And it's in this place where we can be who we truly are in accepting others. I'm going to back up just a second there. Notice how when the green comes into play with the red light, our soul lights coming together, recognizing each other as necessary to create the next component, to create the wholeness of the white light, that green and red in this model create yellow. Green and blue create a beautiful pale teal. And the red and the blue create a wonderful magenta, purple, light purple color. And those all together create the light, the white light, the harmony. When we recognize the truth in each other, honor the truth, honor the truth even in those with whom we have differing perspectives, embrace those differences, recognizing that we do not have to take them on as our own beliefs, recognizing that those individuals are healthy, whole, and complete in their projection of who they are in the world and their shining and sharing of their light. There is no battle. There's only understanding, honoring, accepting, and wholeness. That space of all colors in harmony in the white light. The beauty of that experience. The color wheel of all colors. No judgment. Allowing us to create play, to have fun. Remember, on almost a childlike experience of joy, of that fun, of being at play in the light, which we are part of. The wholeness of that experience, accepting our soul light, reconnecting to joy around the world as we shine our lights to allow them to be seen, so that others may shine theirs, so that all of our lights may come together and make this physical world a much better, happier, additive place. Lights in harmony, lights dancing, lights discovering each other, lights being additive as we reconnect, remembering who we are so that we may be and remember what we truly are. Thank you.